Under Mikel Arteta, Arsenal have been on a very impressive trajectory. Year on year, the club have picked up more wins and scored more goals, which has ultimately led to more points, ultimately pushing the Gunners higher up the table. But if Arteta is to continue this rise, he'll need to evolve the side tactically and strengthen in the summer. So join me today as I discuss how Mikel Arteta could set up Arsenal next season by taking a look at their starting 11, alternative formations and summer transfers. Remember to subscribe if you are new. Smash that like button, but anyway, let's get this party started. In the 23-24 season, expect Arteta to continue with his 4-3-3 that fired them to second in the Premier League. In goal, Aaron Ramsdale will continue. Arsenal's number one had a fine start to the season, but it tailed off in the run-in, eventually ending up below the average shot stopper as he let in 2 more goals than expected according to post-shot expected goals. Despite that, his confidence on the ball, ability to sweep off the line, and his saves in big moments meant that there's no need to replace Ramsdale in goal. In defence, Arsenal could go into this season with exactly the same backline of Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko, with a great blend of technical skills, defensive ability and raw physicality, which is largely thanks to their rock-solid centre-back pairing. Left-back could be an area to improve. Kieran Tierney has been linked with a move away, and the Scotland international is clearly not as suited to the role as Zinchenko has played that transformed Arsenal's possession game. The Ukrainian international ranks first per 90 in the Arsenal squad this season for total touches, progressive passes and passes into the final third, but created less than 1 chance per 90. Zinchenko brought excellent control to Arsenal's build-up shape, but a more offensive option that could bring a new dynamic to Arteta's tactics is João Cancelo. The Portuguese international very publicly fell out with Pep Guardiola in the season, and despite trailing Arsenal at the time, Pep cut ties and sent him on loan to Bayern Munich. Despite being directly involved in 5 goals and just 15 Bundesliga appearances, Bayern won't be exercising their option to buy Cancelo. If Arsenal can convince Pep to part with Cancelo to a title rival, the Gunners should go all in for the Manchester City man. The Portuguese international was exceptional in the 21-22 season, often inverting to create a double pivot and a box midfield to help with the ball progression. Meanwhile, in the final third, Cancelo would take up a variety of attacking positions. Sometimes he'd hold the width on the left, whilst at other times he'd move into the inside left channel. But most importantly, Cancelo was extremely versatile and effective from these positions. He ranked second in the Premier League that season for shot-creating actions amongst defenders. Much like under Guardiola for Arsenal, Cancelo could provide a much different option at left-back, who could provide Arteta with his next tactical evolution. Or at the very least, Cancelo would provide more fluidity to Arsenal's attacking lineup by operating as a central midfielder, left winger or a left interior at various points in a game. In midfield, Arsenal's trio of Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka and Martin Ødegaard had great balance, with Partey providing the tempo from the base and stopping transitions, Ødegaard pulling the strings in the final third and Xhaka providing a goal threat by joining the forwards to create a front 5. The consistency of this trio provided great control to Arteta's side. But with the former Arsenal captain Xhaka leaving the club, the Gunners need a new left central midfielder. Fabio Vieira still has the potential to fill this role, but as a forward, Vieira lacks the defensive ability or physicality of Xhaka. Emile Smith-Rowe all but missed the entirety of the season through injury, and his return will be like a new signing, scoring 10 goals and registering 2 assists in 33 Premier League appearances in the 21-22 season. Smith-Rowe has largely played on the left wing, but has also made several appearances in central midfield for Arteta. Smith-Rowe's technical skill and ability to carry the ball would add a different dynamic to Arsenal's midfield. Meanwhile, the role would give the 22-year-old constant access in the inside left channel, the area of the pitch that Smith-Rowe has done most of his best work. Meanwhile, like Vieira, Emile Smith-Rowe, despite putting on muscle during his injury-hit season, still probably lacks the solidity of Xhaka, so a new signing is needed. There are a lot of players that could fulfill this role for Arteta. Ilkay Gundogan, Gabri Veiga, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, but one who has been linked the most, and my personal favourite for that role, is Declan Rice. Over the past few years, Declan Rice has developed into one of the most complete central midfielders in the Premier League. Extremely strong defensively with great awareness, anticipation and positioning. Rice is also mobile, extremely durable, and has a very strong, impressive technical skill set, showcased by his wide range of passing and powerful ball carrying. Mikel Arteta turned Granit Xhaka, a fairly standard defensive midfielder, into a very dangerous player in the final third by making use of his passing ability and threat he posed inside the box, thanks to his physicality. Expect Arteta to do something the same with Rice, utilising the West Ham captain's composure on the ball and technical skills to help with ball progression in deep areas, before turning him into a player that can crash into the box in the final third. In fact, Rice's equaliser against Leeds was a goal that we've come to expect from Xhaka under Arteta, keeping up with play but on the far side of the pitch and identifying space inside the box to attack. Then as Bowen gets the return from Fornells, Rice springs into action, attacking the back post and giving Bowen a target to pick out. Under Mikel Arteta, expect more of the same, and given that Xhaka scored 41% of his total Premier League goals in the last season under Arteta, expect Rice's goal scoring to experience a similar level of growth. Which leaves us with the front three. This should be no surprise to all Arsenal fans, but this should continue to be Bukayo Saka on the right, Gabriel Martinelli on the left, and Gabriel Jesus through the middle. The dynamic nature and trickery of the wingers provide a real threat from these positions, and the combination with Arteta's tactical instructions to hold the extreme width, their threat in behind created space for their teammates. Meanwhile, Jesus' ability to drop off the line to roam and link the play helped Arteta's Gunners to overload teams centrally. The effectiveness of this trio means Arteta won't change things drastically. On the right, Saka is arguably the star of the show, ranking second in Arsenal's squad last season for shots taken, passes into the penalty area, and shot creating actions. But also ranking first for final third touches, progressive passes received, carries into the final third, carries into the penalty area, dribbles completed, and total goal involvements. What's more is Saka ranks fourth in the Arsenal squad for tackles plus interceptions. Still just 21 years old, Saka is already playing at an elite level, and the relationship he's developed with Ben White and Martin Ødegaard saw Arsenal push 39% of their attacks down the right-hand side. Expect this to continue with Saka holding the width, White providing thrusts from underlaps or overlaps, whilst Martin Ødegaard provides an option for interplay. But on the left, it's a little more interesting. Like with Saka, Gabriel Martinelli really kicked on last season, finishing as Arsenal's joint top scorer with Ødegaard after a slow spell in January. In the final third, Martinelli would often take up more central positions once a teammate had moved wide, often the central midfielder, centre forward or left back. With Zinchenko at left back and Rice in central midfield, the Ukrainian might be expected to take up more overlapping positions in the final third, to allow Martinelli to move closer to goal, given Rice won't provide the same overlapping threat as Xhaka did, as the England international is right-footed. However, with João Cancelo at left back, Arsenal's left-hand side could become as fluid as their right. Cancelo is able to operate in all three positions on the left-hand side, which would allow for frequent positional interchanges, making Arsenal extremely unpredictable in possession. We could see Cancelo and Martinelli in either of the forward positions, whilst Rice protects against the transition. But we could also see Cancelo create the double pivot with Partey, whilst Martinelli holds the width and Rice takes up an attacking 8 role. With more focus down the left-hand side, with players like Cancelo and Rice wanting to get on the ball, we could see Martin Ødegaard continue and even improve his goal scoring. All the way back in January, we made a video explaining how Ødegaard is operating more like a goal-scoring midfielder in the mould of Frank Lampard than a playmaker like Kevin De Bruyne. If you're interested, there'll be a link in the description above and below. But since then, Ødegaard scored another 7 goals in the Premier League, 2 which were almost identical against Chelsea, with Arsenal attacking down the left and Xhaka picking out his captain with 2 measured passes to the penalty spot. The more that Arsenal attack down the left, the more opportunities Ødegaard will have to become the spare man and make goal-scoring runs, and by adding Rice and Cancelo to Martinelli or Trossard, Arsenal will have more inviting environment for Ødegaard to score goals, potentially even breaking his own record for most non-penalty goals scored by a central midfielder in the Premier League in a single season. This 11 isn't hugely better than Arsenal's 22-23 team, but an increase in squad depth, more experience for their young stars, and the ability to add more unpredictability to their attacks, Arsenal could continue and challenge for the Premier League. The only other areas for improvement would be to add more squad depth. A left-footed right winger would give the option to rotate and rest Bukayo Saka without completely changing the system. Marquinhos didn't have much of an impact on loan at Norwich last season, so probably isn't ready to step up for the first team, whilst Fabio Vieira played less than 500 minutes in the Premier League last year, and even then he was deployed in central midfield. Samuel Chukwueze would be another young talent who would add dribbling quality to the right flank, and his contract expiring in 2024. The Nigeria international wouldn't be overtly expensive. The most logical way to add depth to the right flank, as well as multiple other positions, is picking up Mohamed Kudus from Ajax. A strange player in that he's extremely versatile and is seen in play almost everywhere for Ajax. Kudus can provide cover on the right flank as more of a goal-scoring inside forward than a creative inverted winger like Saka. However, a good 1v1 dribbler with a great technical skill and an eye for a goal, and impressive physical stats like acceleration, agility, speed and balance, Kudus would be well suited on the right wing, especially in this Arsenal team that enables so much positional rotation in their forward positions. The big thing that Arsenal need to do is establish themselves as a consistent title contender is to add squad depth. By signing Rice, Cancelo and Kudus, Arsenal would be adding extreme quality and versatility. Cancelo would fill in both at right back and left back, Rice could even play at 8, 6 or even centre half, whilst Kudus can basically play across the front 5 positions in Arteta's 4-3-3. Then when you consider Arsenal already have the versatility in Trossard and Zinchenko, the Gunners wouldn't just have an exceptional first 11 but a really strong competitive second string too. But anyway guys, what do you think? How close do you think Arsenal will get to this lineup by the start of next season? And who do you want to see them by? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new. I've been Statman Dave. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel?